I'm sure lots of people chime with what Penny was saying there. We're joined now by Shadow Energy Climate Secretary Caroline Flint. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So this is going to happen at 7 o'clock. We're not entirely sure what Ofgem are going to say, but we assume it's going to be a full inquiry into the competition around these companies.
Yes, all the signals are is that Ofgem are going to refer it to a full competition review. And to be honest, I think it's a really frank admission that actually Ofgem hasn't been able to make sure that these companies work in a competitive way. It's an admission of failure, to be honest. And I've been on this for the last couple of years saying that, you know, there's something seriously wrong here. It's why 6 months ago, pretty much 6 months to today, Ed Miliband announced that we would have a price freeze across the energy market and reform it fundamentally for the future.
And when you heard that SSE, I think they have 5 million customers, yesterday announced that they were going to freeze their prices until January 2016, I think, you know, one of the longest ever price promises in the industry, you know, lots of consumer groups welcomed it. What did you think about that? Presumably it's good news.
Oh, I welcome a price freeze, and, you know, I've been out campaigning and listening to people, and we'd like a price freeze across the sector now, and we've urged David Cameron to do that. But SSE have 5 million customers. There are 27 million customers out there, and what we need is a full freeze while the reforms that are necessary to this market are undertaken. And what we can't have is a competition review that sort of kicks out to touch this issue for a number of years. We need to get on with some of the measures that are necessary to reform right now.
The coalition would say at least they're doing it under this government, and the energy companies have been profiteering for many years now, decades, under several governments.
Well, what we've seen is a number of reviews by the regulator over many years, quite rightly, as you've just said. And the truth is that prices have gone up 3 times as fast in the last few years, twice the rate of inflation. And people have felt left out when it's come to their concerns, like your viewer who was saying we have to turn off radiators around the house. 6 months ago today, Ed Miliband announced that Labour would freeze prices across the sector if we win the election for 20 months to 2017 whilst we do the market reforms. And we're going to continue on that to make sure that we deal with this market once and for all.
I mean, the price freeze sounds good if you're the one paying the bills, but also if you're a saver, or if you have a pension, it can also affect those in other ways. So it's almost giving with one hand and possibly taking away with another, isn't it?
I think the public deserve to have some payback for what they have suffered in recent times. And whether you're a working person, a pensioner, or someone who is out of work, freezing the bills would mean an enormous amount. And what it's necessary for is why we reset the market. And Labour is absolutely determined that actually we're not going to allow a competition review. We welcome it, but we're not going to allow that review to kick out to touch the reforms that are necessary. That's why we need to not just ask people to freeze the bills, ask these companies to freeze the bills. We need to say you must freeze the bills and you should do it now.
Well, let's see what is said at 7 o'clock from this Ofgem report. Thanks very much, Caroline. Nice to see you. Good morning.